Hello friends, welcome to my channel Explore with Joyla. The origin of clocks and watches as we recognize them today first emerged in the 15th century. However, measuring time has always been important. The previously mentioned date only accounts for the last 600 years of history, which begs the question, how did people tell time before clocks? Every civilization has been fascinated with the way the sun moves across the sky. It was always believed that the earth was fixed in the center of the heavens and the sun orbited around it. And while no one can say exactly when early man began using the sun, moon, and stars in the sky to tell time, it was most certainly born of necessity. He needed to have an accurate understanding of the seasons, to know when to plant and harvest crops, and telling time became a matter of basic survival. Of course, looking up certain times of the day were obvious: when the sun rose and when it set, and the time of the day when it was at its highest point, when shadows were shortest, etc. As civilizations developed, it became more and more important to know the time during the day. The earliest known timekeeping devices appeared in Egypt and Mesopotamia around 330 BCE. Sundials consisted of a tall vertical or diagonal standing object used to measure the time, called a gnomon. Sundials were able to measure time with relative accuracy by the shadow caused by the gnomon. The earliest wholly verified appearance of a sundial is the Egyptian shadow clock, circa 1500 BC. This clock used the passage of the sun overhead to help people decipher the time. The earliest sundial design may have begun with a simple stick in the ground to cast a shadow, but it soon developed into a triangular pointer known as a gnomon, which stands in the center of a round dial etched with numbers. The shadow cast by the gnomon moves around the face of the numbered dial as the day progresses to tell time. As sundials became more common, the gnomon became shorter and eventually pointed to the north rather than straight up. Different shapes emerged, such as sphere, cylinder, and cones, and size ranged from tiny pocket dials to giant dials in observatories. The gnomon casts a shadow on the plate, and this shadow shows the time. Noon occurred at midday, and it would be at this time that the crosspiece would be moved to the west of the gnomon. The sundial may be made of metal, wood, stones, or other materials. Most scholars agree that the Egyptian time began at dawn before the rising of the sun rather than sunrise. The daily cycle was divided into 24 hours, 12 hours day and 12 hours night. The latter apparently reckoned based on the movement of the groups of stars across the night sky. Naturally, sundials had some flaws in their construction. However, we can view mankind's ability to start documenting parts of the day with a timepiece as a massive technological leap. The most glaring fault is that of accuracy. The times were not accurate. The length of daylight hours varies through the seasons, and for this reason, the measurement and value of an hourly unit varies as well. Furthermore, daylight hours vary based on region, location, and even city. Because of this, universal time did not exist and would not for millennia later. The varying hours were called seasonal hours. They would be used by the Greeks and the Romans, who would spread the timekeeping method across the world. Later groups would improve upon the concept of shadow clock, in particular the Greeks and Romans. One version of the sundial features an obelisk in the center of a hemispherical bowl with marking delineating days, months, and seasons. Record of a supposedly universal sundial exists from the 1st century BCE, but that design of the sundial itself has not survived. Soon, however, a true universal sundial would appear. The greatest improvement upon the sundial came in 1371. The most accurate sundial times occur where the trajectory of the sun is most constant along Earth's axis and around the equator. Ibn al-Shatir proved that placing the gnomon of a sundial parallel to Earth's axis creates shadow with equal hours each day of the year. This discovery soon became common practice in construction and created the iconic diagonal appearance of modern sundial. Over time, the sundial became more and more complex and also more accurate. Modern astronomers and mathematicians knew they needed to make adjustments accounting for the Earth's tilted axis, for the elliptical shape of the Earth's orbit around the Sun, and for the fact that seasons affect the length of shadows. Winter shadows are longer than summer shadows. Because of its accuracy, the sundial was actually used to check and adjust time on mechanical clocks right up until the late 19th century. Up until 19th century, sundials were the main instrument people used to tell time. Did you know that traditionally most sundials are engraved with a motto in the form of an epigram? Sometimes these messages appear often in Latin as a somber reflection on the passing of time, or to remind us that life is short. But many times the dial maker simply wanted to express his sense of humor and wit. The Latin phrase carpe diem, seize the day, is an example of an often used sundial motto. The oldest stone sundial was found in Egypt and dates from the time of Thutmose III, about 1500 years BC. Dating to the 19th dynasty or the 13th century BC, the sundial was found on the floor of a workman's hut in the Valley of the Kings, the burial place of ruler from Egypt's New Kingdom period. The oldest true sundial that we know of is made from green schist and built around 1500 BCE in Egypt. Shaped like a letter L, the length of the shadow cast by the vertical leg and crosspiece along the horizontal leg indicated the time. There are both advantages and disadvantages of sundial. The advantages of sundial are: it is eco-friendly. Unlike the wall clock and watches, sundials do not require the use of dry cells. or batteries, or even electricity. A sundial makes a more environmentally friendly tool than other timepieces. The disadvantages of sundial are: a sundial doesn't work at night. A sundial doesn't work when the sun is hidden by clouds, buildings, etc. It only works at the latitude it is designed for. A sundial built for Ecuador would not be accurate in New Zealand. Sundials were used in India also. In the 1720s, Maharaja Jai Singh II moved the capital of Rajasthan to Jaipur. He wanted to make sure, however, that his new capital would have sufficient instruments to measure time. He sent his team of scientists and astronomers throughout Europe to learn how to improve the common sundial. And when they returned, the Jantar Mantar was constructed. The observatory has withstood the test of time and is still so accurate that it is still used for teaching and making calculations. So while the sundial is used mostly as a garden decoration today, its place in history is quite significant. In fact, nearly all of the clocks and calendars we use today have strong roots in ancient models, including that of the simple sundial. So friends, this was my video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you enjoyed my video, like, share and subscribe my channel to get more videos like this. Thank you. Bye bye.